What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Resale back at it again with another video for y'all. Today we just here to chop it up about some recent orders I put in and go over some vendors and products that's available, and a few manufacturing details as well. Now, if y'all have been watching the videos, then y'all have seen me do reviews on certain pairs of sneakers and stuff. And some are real, some are replicas, some are one-on-one. Some are B grades, certain level grades from manufacturers and things of that nature. So I like to keep things all the way genuine with you all. And that's just me with my keeping it 100 with my fan base or with the community in general and with the people that's trying to resell and make money and profit and do it the hard way and the smart way, and just genuinely with love. But in general, I did some videos and I had pairs in my videos that weren't up to the quality that I wanted them to be, I like the sneakers, I actually rate them pretty highly. If I was to do like a 10 flat rating on each of the sneakers that you've all seen in my videos if you've been watching them. But pretty much I'm just here to say right now that I'm probably going to be switching vendors around, and I'm finding a lot of more sellers as reselling becomes more popular. Honestly, it's just making sure people are trustworthy and they're not flaky on as far as what items are shipped. Pretty like it's a whole breakdown. I was working on a list. You got pros and cons, and as far as we get into the pros last, say the best for last. But as far as the cons for the situation, we got shipping prices now. We got flaky vendors, so like people could have photos of a listing and ship out something totally different, or the quality in hand is totally different upon what the pictures and videos may have looked like. You got a lot of situations that just don't go wrong. You get stolen packages from mail companies all the time and things like that. So when it comes to resale, you gotta be very, very particular on who you pick as a vendor. Like some vendors are really good. They accept refunds. They'll ship out the item more than once just to make sure that their customers are satisfied. They'll take that extra chance to go to make sure that they please the customer. And pretty much those are the type of vendors that you want to look for when purchasing anything, because you can genuinely just talk to them and they'll try to relate to you just based upon human nature. So, as far as when finding certain products and stuff like that, those are the vendors that you would want to look for. They could probably help you find certain things and just chop it up with you. But yeah, some recent pairs I ordered, I have them on the chart. I have some Brad Yeezys. I have 6 different pairs, and I have some Supreme Air Force Ones, all real. Backstop dropped straight from the factory in the warehouses that I ship to retail stores. Um, they do this on a consistent basis. Any pairs that are overstocked, that aren't being sold or that aren't being used, that's just sitting on shelves in retail stores currently. Any extra pairs, they just keep them. Overseas markets keep them. And at the end of the day, they're like, you might as well sell them. So they post them up and they sell them. And some manufacturers just continue to manufacture the shoe even when it's not in production anymore, because they still have materials left over. So they maximize profits by that. Right? That's why you see Nike outlets with a lot of shoes and outlet stores with multiple different grade levels of shoes and things like that. But that's a whole nother story, and we could say that for another time. But pretty much I'm just showing y'all that This photos is pretty much a lot of things that have been manufactured over the years. You got to think how long certain countries and places have been making sneakers for, the whole world in general. Have been making items for the whole world in general, and all these pairs have just been sitting over the years. They just sit. Like, honestly, a lot of these pairs go for so cheap because the stock on the pairs is so like overdone that like they're just gonna sit. So we could sell the pairs for pennies to the dollar as long as overseas people pay for shipping, right? So that's what they do. And as far as us, we're the foreigners to them. So if we could pay 10 to 20 bucks for shipping on a shoebox, you feel me, that weighs a couple pounds maybe, um, then they'll be willing to ship the shoe for $4, and pay pay the 20 and sell it for 25 just because the shoe's sitting and no one's gonna do anything with it. That's how much stock they have. So and it's like that for the retail stores as well. That's why big sales happen, and that's why outlet stores happen, as I just said. So a lot of all these pairs that have been manufactured, a lot of it just sit, overseas and in retail stores, and they can't sell. So people get them at discount prices, or when you get them from overseas, you get them from pretty much little to nothing, besides paying the shipping fees. But that's pretty much how that goes. As you see, I'm showing you perfect pairs. These are pairs that would be sold at your local Foot Locker, Champs, all stores like that. This is exactly how the pairs come in store. These are all real sneakers, you feel me? The only thing missing is a registered receipt, and you could actually get that from some of the vendors. Um, you could get the overseas receipt, or some vendors when they ship from overseas to countries like New York and I mean not countries, to states like New York and California. When they ship from overseas to those two, entering America states, those two borderline states, then the retail stores there actually have people working there, or the people in the factories and warehouses. They'll register the shoes through the stores to make sure that they're in the system, and then some people could actually check them out and scan them. So they can come with receipt as well, online receipts and physical store receipts. So that's how that happens with some pairs. Consistently, you can see unreleased pairs on here as well. These are pairs that the companies, the big name Nike companies, Adidas, all those big name companies, these are pairs that they, like blueprint or plan on making, and they start to set it up in ways like that. So any pairs that aren't released yet that you see on this listing or in this video in general, yeah, they have been manufactured. Maybe a few, like not in mass, but like maybe a few thousand pairs have been manufactured, and that's what you see some people selling. So yeah, a lot of these pairs are manufactured just with leftover product, and it's all the same companies, right? Like, once you get to that one manufacturer who is locked in and genuinely close with certain companies and factories and warehouses, then you'll know what pairs are good and what pairs are bad. Um, yes, there are still other manufacturers overseas that try to make the best replica that they can, and that's kind of what I'm talking about as far as what I've had in my past videos. And I haven't been too satisfied with the quality of some of those sneakers. As far as just for me to wear, just to throw on and walk out the house with them, yeah, I could do that. But as far as me selling them to customers, um, I would let them know that they're replica, because they are. I usually look for the real deal that just comes from overseas. Obviously, designer brand items and high ticket items that aren't manufactured in America are still sold in America. And just because they're sold in America, it's not like America's are sitting Americans aren't sitting here and calling the product fake, right? If we walk into the Louis store in the middle of New York, and we buy something, and we walk and we check out the product that we just bought, it's gonna say made in Italy, even though we bought it in America. So China's the same way, pretty much basically saying that, in overseas in general, in Hong Kong, in Dubai, in Japan, in these places like that, they have items that are, from the retail designer stores as well, and people don't pay attention to that. As soon as they see that something comes from overseas, they may think it's fake, or if it's not from like the desired country, the country that makes the product, as far as labeling on the product itself and logoing the product, then they won't understand how the product is genuine. So that's like someone coming from another country, or overseas, coming to America, and then they pay for a Louis bag at the Louis store in America, but the Louis bag says made in Italy. They wouldn't consider the bag fake just because the bag says made in Italy and it was sold in America, right? Because we have a Louis store, we have an actual Louis Vuitton store in America. So yes, other places have actual retail stores that sell this product, and that's how a lot of this product is manufactured, or not manufactured, but the manufacturers are taking advantage of as far as the product that's overstocked and backdrop. So this is how we get access to the product at low prices. A lot of it just sits overseas because people don't pay for it. Shit, and overseas, they have manufacturers that can make better replicas than sometimes even the real deal. So why would I pay overpriced prices for the real deal when I could pay for the replica in my hometown country, right? As far as for the overseas folks, for us people like who live in the UK, England, the US, stuff like that, North America in general, majority of us, we have to go about another way. We pay, a lot of people in our countries pay overpriced prices at the retail stores, and if you explain anything to them other than it's not, like, if you try to tell them anything except for it's from the Louis store, then they won't really try to purchase your item. They won't believe anything. If it doesn't have a receipt, they don't believe anything. They don't really want to buy it, which is definitely understandable because you don't want a false item. But if a lot of these products are made overseas anyway, like if it's made in France, if I purchase it in France, 9 times out of 10 it could be real, but it could still be fake. It could be fake manufacturers over there as well. So a lot of people, you got to still pay attention, right? You still got to pay attention. So it's honestly just what you feel at heart. If you see an item on spot and you check the item out and you feel like the item is worth the amount of valued cash that you're holding, or that you're willing to give, that the customers ask, or that the seller's asking for, if you feel that the trade is fair and even on spot and you're in person face to face, then there's really like nothing that there shouldn't be any complaints or like upsetness, as far as if you check the product out and you are satisfied with it yourself as the customer. Um, and yeah, that's another thing. Like, as a seller, I'm always as genuine as possible with my customers. A lot of people, are, and they should be when it comes to reselling. Actually, a lot of people just don't understand how reselling works, and they don't understand that there's a lot of genuine products that can get mixed in with a lot of fake vendor products and fake manufacturers who try to replicate the real manufacturers to the top, right? But no, there's actually vendors over there that have real product, right? And they are the real manufacturers for some of these big name companies, and they just continue making the pairs, just to sell on the side for themselves, or in general just to make extra money, just overstock pairs that are backdrop, that don't move, that are just sitting in general. So all these pairs are crazy, man. You've seen hella pairs as talked and ranted throughout this whole video. It's crazy. Like, I could name hella pairs. We got designer sneakers, we got Jordans, we got Nike foam posits, Nike AF1 Air Forces, we got all retros, Jordan 3, 5, 6s. Jordan 1 through 14s, the major ones. They go to like 30. You know, the manufacturers have everything. Every shoe that was ever made, obviously, every shoe that the company has ever concepted or has ever given a concept to. Um, they're manufacturing them. So this is a pickup that I just made. This shoe, I do want to tell y'all the price, but I'm not gonna tell y'all the price. This is a pickup that I just made though. This shoe is not out yet. This is a special release, the Gray Supreme Jordan 1 Travis's, the Verse logo on them. I just picked those up, bro. I picked up, like I said, I picked up some more shoes too. As you see these Kobe's, I'm planning on picking these up too. I'm actually gonna just grab hella shit. I know some pairs that I'm gonna grab for sure. These are hot right now, the Midnight Navy SBs. So I was thinking about grabbing some pairs of those. A lot of these pairs are taxed. They are retail store price overseas, so it's nothing crazy. It's just if you buy a lot of them at a time and the person you're working with is willing to negotiate with you as far as the shipping, maybe you all can split the shipping difference and you could get a lot of pairs at a specific number, to make a couple bucks, a nice little percentage to what he would be making, and y'all could do that every time because he still makes the profit off the strict manufacturers who are selling, backstop drop product, overstock product. So pretty much you could get this shit at a decent price, at a price a little bit less than American retail, but it's still just as high, right? So for the pairs that have high resale value though, that's where we can make money as far as resellers, because these pairs have overstock as well. A lot of these pairs are just over manufactured. Pairs honestly don't sell out. The material is still in the factories, and the shoe could be made at any time, right? Especially a lot of these shoes that you see, like the Travis's, it's just the same few materials getting put together in a couple different colorways, right? Like there's so many colorways of the same shoes, so it's honestly just recycled material being used and used and used. And sometimes factories fuck up on the shoes, Production can fuck up too, There's errors that are made and there's mistakes made. That's why you see things like B grade shoes, D grade shoes, F level shoes. But this is me talking to my vendor for a little bit. Just communicating with them and letting them know some pairs that I want. As you see, I got all types of Travis's. These are unreleased Travis's. Those are the black ones are the Travis Stussy collection. AJ1 reverse. I want the Breads. I want the Red Thunders. And yeah, we were talking about prices and stuff. But as you can see, what I'm paying for some of these pairs, and yeah, some of these pairs do get pretty high in price. And it's a good thing and a bad thing. Obviously, it's a good thing because you know that what you pay for is what you get, right? So you can come across genuine pairs for certain prices, and you know that sometimes you could get whoopty daisy trying to pay a little bit, even a little bit less than what you would pay for a genuine pair. By overseas vendors, sometimes they don't ship out at all, certain things like that, or they'll post photos of the genuine pair that they post for a high price, and then they'll ship you something totally different. So there's certain things that you got to be careful for and watch out for and take notice of. Other than that, I got a lot of pairs on the way. Like I said, I got some Supreme Air Force Ones. I got some Bread Yeezys, 6 pairs of Bread Yeezys. I wanted both colorways of Supreme Air Force One, so I might go back and get the other ones. Um, but yeah, I'm looking to resell some of these pairs. I only wear pairs if they're bad reps, or if they're replica in general. As far as the pairs that I sell, they're all 1-to-1 or real. And I'm just able to get them at good prices. I'm able to get limited pairs at good prices, and then I can resell at high value prices. But here's some clothes. You know, we have a whole clothing collection that I can get into from my vendors. But this is just a little Fendi collection that I was probably gonna order for myself and a few people that I know who are interested, like these windbreakers right here. But here's some more shoes that I was gonna get into. Like I said previously, I already bought the gray ones. I was gonna get the green ones too. That's a Fendi backpack. Here's the Fendi collection. These charts are what I'm planning on ordering. This is how I plan on ordering sizes and everything, and the amount of items, the amount of sizes. This are huge charts right here, bro. Fendi, Jordans, Yeezys. A few of these orders I have already put in. I've already knocked off a few of the orders. I was gonna do it all at once for a lot of that shit at once. Actually, everything on that big chart you just saw was like a couple grand, maybe like 3 to 4. But I just put that order in for the Yeezys, as you're seeing. We got Supreme Dunks, we got Flu Games, we got Jordan 11s, we got Jordan 4 Retros, and plenty much more, bro. Uh, and yeah, so there's Travis's, we got White Thunders, and I continue to make charts, you know, for these shoes. There's so many Travis's, so many colorways. We got designer Travis's. Here's some Black Cement 3s, a great pair. This is what the fucking Legend Blues are going for, because vendors have the real pair for lower. Bread 4s, Bread 11s, Red Thunder 4s. These are actually really good at reselling. White Thunders as well, Yellow Thunders as well, if you've seen them. I found the best pair of Pantones ever. They're so good. And yeah, I got vendors for this stuff, but here's a chart that I'm gonna put in. This whole chart that you see right here cost around $1,000, just short of 1,000 for everything on the list, including the Supreme Dunks that were there, I believe. Each of these Travis's cost like $100. The threes cost like $100 as well. Everything comes original from store, with box, with tissue paper, just the same way as you would get it from Foot Locker, Champs, or Finish Line. Yeah, everything's legit. But here's UNC 5. And yeah, I'm kind of just gonna let this picture sit here and like do a voiceover. But here's some UNC 5s, bro, and these are reselling for like 300 right now in majority of the average sizes. So yeah, but that's pretty much it for this video. I'm just showing you all, you know, the products that you're able to get from vendors and the type of products that certain vendors manufacture. You know, some of them make the real deal products, and that's why they're able to pass StockX and pass certain apps like Goat, eBay, and that's why you could sell them as authentic, because they are authentic. They're just coming from overseas, from overstock backdrops, warehouses and factories at a less than retail price, right? Because they don't have any other way to sell it and no one to sell it to. Only thing they need you to do is pay a decent price for it and then pay the shipping cost. So they're willing to sell it for low prices. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. You know, that's how it goes as far as getting quality pairs from good vendors and buying pairs in bulk, you know. You could get way better prices, and you could almost get retail store prices, you know. So manufacturers give the shoes to the retail stores and they tell them to sell them at a certain price, and that's what the retail stores do. And whatever they sell over, you know, the bulk bought price is the profit that they keep for each pair. So we can get the shoes at retail store prices as a regular buyer. You know, you just got to know the right people and the right vendors. And that's pretty much what I'm researching right now. A lot of people like I said, I started reselling through DHgate. So, that's where a lot of people actually started from. Places like Haggle by Panda by DHgate, all those items, CM fans, all those places and websites. But I'm getting into real deal manufacturers now, and this is where shit gets good. This is where I get limited pairs, sample pairs, player edition pairs, all the hidden shit, and it's made real. It's real deal shit. So that's what I'm looking for right now. That's what I'm focused on. I'm willing to pay high ticket prices. I can make my money back anytime from American buyers. So as long as I buy in bulk and I pay attention to my vendors, then I could build relationships. But that's pretty much it for this video. Like I said, once again, it's your boy Resell, Increase Sell. I'm out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Gang.